It is Halloween night. Lucy and Grace are university students. They have been to a Halloween party. They had a very good time. Lucy is wearing a ghost costume. Grace is wearing a witch costume. It is 11:30 p.m. The party has finished. Lucy and Grace are waiting for a taxi in the center of the city. There are many other people waiting for taxis. Lucy and Grace have been waiting for 30 minutes. "I'm so cold," says Grace. "This witch costume is very thin." "I'm cold too." "There are many parties tonight," says Lucy. "It will be difficult to get a taxi. All the taxis are busy. What should we do? Shall we start walking home? I'm wearing high heels. It is difficult to walk far," says Grace. Lucy looks at Grace's high heels. "You're right. But maybe if we start walking, we can find a taxi on the street." "Yes, maybe. And it's too cold to wait here. Let's go." Lucy and Grace start to walk home. It starts to rain. "I want to walk faster, but I can't," says Grace. "I hope we see a taxi." The young women live about a 40-minute walk from the city center. Some cars pass, but they are not taxis. "Come on, taxi. Please. Come down this street. Take us home," says Lucy. Just then, they see a car with a light on top. The car is coming down the street. "Look," says Grace. "I think that is a taxi." "I can't believe it," says Lucy. "The taxi heard me." The young women laugh. Lucy puts her hand up and walks to the side of the road. "Stop. Stop," she says. The taxi stops next to them. They look through the window at the driver. "Wow," says Lucy. "Look at the driver. He is wearing a Halloween costume. He is wearing a skeleton costume." "Cool costume," says Grace. "Can you take us to Coral Street, please?" asks Lucy. The driver nods his head, but he doesn't say anything. "Thank you so much. We are so glad to see you," says Grace. They get in the back of the taxi and the taxi starts to move. "Were you busy tonight?" asks Lucy. The driver doesn't answer. "I like your costume," says Grace. Again, the driver doesn't say anything. Lucy starts to laugh. She says to Grace quietly, "It is Halloween, so he wants to be scary. He wants us to be scared, so he is wearing a costume and he doesn't say anything." Grace laughs. "Yeah, I think you are right." Then, the driver starts to drive faster. The girls look at each other. "Excuse me," says Grace. "Can you slow down, please?" The driver doesn't say anything. "Grace," says Lucy. "Look out of the window. Coral Street is in the south of the city. We are going north. The sea is on our left side. It should be on our right side." Grace looks out of the window. "You're right," she says. She shouts to the driver, "Where are you going? Stop. Stop now." But the driver doesn't stop. He drives faster and faster. The girls scream, "Stop! Stop! You are going to kill us." The driver turns right, and the taxi goes down a dark and quiet road. The road is very narrow, and there are trees on both sides of the road. The taxi is going very fast. "Let's call the police," says Lucy quietly. "We have no time. If we don't stop the driver now, he will crash." "I have a plan," says Grace very quietly. "I am sitting behind him so I can't get to the steering wheel. Can you climb into the front passenger seat?" "I think so," says Lucy. "Okay. Please try, Lucy. When you are in the front, I will put my belt around his neck. I will pull very hard. Take the steering wheel and try to keep us on the road." "But I can't drive," says Lucy. "But we have to do something. We must try. Take the steering wheel and pull the handbrake on. The car will slow down. Then maybe we can open the doors and jump out." "Okay," says Lucy, "let's try." Lucy climbs into the front of the taxi. It is very strange. The driver does not look at her. The driver doesn't say anything. "Okay," says Lucy. "Let's try." Lucy climbs into the front of the taxi. It is very strange. The driver does not look at her. The driver doesn't say anything. "After 3, says Grace. 3, 2, 1, go." Grace throws her belt over the driver's head. She pulls hard. Lucy puts her hand out to hold the steering wheel, but Grace screams, "His head! His head!" It's. The man's head falls from his neck and onto the floor. Lucy stops holding the steering wheel. "Lucy!" The tree. The car hits the tree very hard, and everything becomes quiet. The next day, a TV news reporter and a cameraman are standing next to the tree on the road. The tree is damaged. The reporter looks into the camera and starts to speak. "Last night, at around midnight, a taxi crashed into this tree. There were 2 young women in the taxi. They were both university students. One woman was wearing a ghost costume, and the other was wearing a witch costume. Police also found a plastic skeleton in the car. Police think the young women bought the skeleton in a costume shop and took it to a Halloween party. A friend of the young women was at the party last night. She told police the 2 young women planned to take a taxi home. The owner of the taxi was Matthew. A woman found Mr. Matthew lying on the road at about 11:30 last night. The woman called an ambulance. Mr. Matthew died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. Doctors think he had a heart attack. Mr. Matthew was a driver for Premium One taxis. Premium One taxis sent another driver to get Mr. Matthews' taxi, but it was not there. The police think the young women took Mr. Matthews' taxi, but they have many questions. The young women lived in Coral Street in the south of the city, so why did they drive north? How did the women drive the car? The women's friends told police they could not drive, and there were no driver's licenses in their wallets. And another question is this: why was the plastic skeleton in the driver's seat when the car crashed? The police may never find the answers to the questions. When they came to the place of the accident, The young women were already dead.